faces. Thank you so much for joining us on this very cold, mild, breezy day. I've never been so sweaty in all my life. I hope you're keeping cool with the temperature. But good morning, and it's lovely to see you all. A very warm welcome, an incredibly warm welcome to our June Includability Employer Support Group. This week, with a sporty twist. And as ever, if this is your first time with us on an Includability ESG, then a huge welcome to the family. It's wonderful to have you with us all this morning. And of course, to all of our returning community, just brilliant to be by your side as ever. Once again, we have a brilliantly inspirational lineup of guest speakers for you across the next hour to help inspire you on your journey in creating a healthier and a more inclusive workplace culture for your business. I'm delighted to be joined by Michelle Dorgan, Head of Marcomms at Women in Football, Nicole, Allison, owner of Worcester City Women Football Club. Hi, Nick, great to see you. Claire Heath, Head of Partnerships at Switch the Play Foundation, and our very own Matt Locke, our Wellbeing Verification Partner and Athlete Service Manager at Switch the Play Foundation, will be running a very special Q&A with us with a very special guest, all within the next hour. Now, our community revolves around facilitating great introductions. So as always, before we begin, we'd love you to introduce yourselves on the chat feed. Please do connect with each other. And of course, with our brilliant guest speakers, and don't hesitate to share your LinkedIn profile if you'd be happy to do. We'll also be sharing various links to the chat feed over the course of the ESG itself, but please don't be shy. If you've got an upcoming event or some great news that you'd love to share, then don't hesitate to pop that into the feed. As you know, we love shouting about the incredible work of our Includability community. Chris, our lovely comms manager, will as ever be dropping Includability gold into the chat feed, our upcoming events, our celebration days, our resource links, our video links, and of course, supporting with any questions you might have during the ESG itself. And of course, if there's any further information that you need at any point around Includability, or perhaps to chat through how your business can become an Includability committed employer, then you have me, you have James, you have our founder Paul on the call, and of course you've got Danny, our partnerships manager, totally available for you. So anything, of course, that we can do to support you, please do just let us know, and we are there. Now, just before we introduce our first fantastic guest speaker for you this morning, we have a very exciting date for your diary. Would you believe it? Our very first in-person Includability Links and Drinks event will be held next month, Thursday, the 25th of July, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. in partnership with the brilliant X and Y at their Five Fields building in Grosvenor Square in London. As our wonderful Includability community, you are all invited. It would be so incredible to see you. The venue's gorgeous. The event is totally free. You can drop in whenever feels comfortable for you. And it will be a wonderful opportunity to introduce you to inspirational people who align with your interests and your values. The hugs are totally optional, but we are all thoroughly available if called upon. Chris will be popping the Eventbrite link into the chat feed now, so please do sign up. We'd be absolutely thrilled, of course, to see you. And now for a wonderful Q&A to kick us off. I am delighted to introduce one of the finest humans ever made, the brilliant Matt Locke. Matt will be known to many of our Includability committed employers as our Wellbeing Verification Partner, but alongside his role as co-founder of Outliers Wellbeing, he's also Athlete Service Manager of our Includability Sports Setting official partner, Switch the Play Foundation. Matt knows all the cool people. So without further ado, I am delighted to pass you all across so that he can introduce you to our very special guest today. Matt, thanks so much, mate. And the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Firstly, what an introduction. I always say that you're full of shit, Dave. So thank you very much. Morning, everyone. I'm gonna keep this really brief because I've been lucky enough to be working with someone for the past 6 months with a program that we're running with Switch to Play, and also on a one-to-one basis as well. And he is on the call. So Matt Crossan, and this is when I'm gonna do very little. I'm literally just gonna ask a few questions to Matt. He's gonna talk, and I can guarantee you lot will be inspired. So Matt, mate, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about your journey, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt Crossan. I'm 34-year-old. My story starts when I was 23. Basically, I played football at I'd say an average level if you're a Middlesbrough fan. So yeah, I was training with the likes of Middlesbrough and a few local Teesside teams. From there, and I suffered a stroke, full-blown stroke. Not just, you can have them so the sort of slight sort of a worry, but yeah, it was full-blown. My left side completely paralysed. Everything you take for granted as a grown-up and an adult, walk, talk, read and write. I had to learn everything. My 3-year-old now, she's probably better than I was and probably a better speaker than I am now since it. But yeah, it was something that reset my body completely. But I can hand on heart say to this day, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I'll say that to my dying day because I've managed to meet some fantastic people through it and become the captain of the England cerebral palsy team. That's it in brief, really. But obviously, throughout that, there was some challenges where I thought, today's not my day, or this isn't my week, sort of thing. But it's just sort of been instilled in me from my dad and my granddad, coming to watch me all them years playing football, and little things that I've been set back through my life. It's sort of perseverance and keeping going and making sure that I can sort of just hack it out, and that's life. That's what we always say within our family. That's life. That's how it goes, and you just plod on with it. So yeah, I mean, that's my story. I wasn't a bad football player. I'm probably a little bit better now with England, but yeah, I mean, it's something that's been probably the best. I can honestly say it's the best thing that's ever happened to me because it's opened doors that I would never ever have known about without having a stroke.
Matt, just elaborate on your football career, because you flippantly say my football career. I'm sure there's some people on the call that have maybe had a sporting career. Come on, tell us a bit more in detail. How many appearances, how many competitions, how many accolades? Because I know that you're a very modest guy.
So I've currently got 59 England caps. I've got just under 38 goals for England. I've played since 2014, the back end of 2014. I've been to the Paralympics. I went to Brazil. I was fortunate enough to be selected to go to Brazil, which was just inspiring anyway. Your gob was always open because you just didn't know where to look because it was that inspiring in times. And yeah, I mean, it's like I say, I'm not really someone who just likes to blow their own trumpet. It's the way I am. I just get on with everything, and it's just how it is. So yeah, that's it really.
So I know as well that it's not just the football, and I've obviously met you a couple of times at St George's Park and Lilleshall, and I can see the effort that you put in there. But you're not just a football player, are you? What else have you got going on?
Obviously, I work at the minute for a company along with my dad. I try to do as many talks, not just for myself, going to schools as well. It's sort of just telling people persevere through tough times and have that mental attitude where I didn't think I had before my stroke, and I would have probably said I was a little bit soft and panicked. But it's always in you, and I always go into talks with, whether it's businesses or whether it's school, just to say that it's within you to get past. If I can get past it, and I was probably one of the softest you could come across and the easy going, then anyone can achieve it and anyone can get to where they need to be, because I always think things happen for a reason, and there was a reason that I had to have a stroke for me to play for England. That's the way I look at it. That's the positive spin I've got on it, and I just think, well, it was meant to happen, and that's the way I think everybody has got to look at the things, that obstacles get put in the way, and things may happen to them. You can only control the controllables, and I think the best way to do it is just everything that gets thrown at you, just say it was meant to happen. But someone said to me years ago, it was just after my stroke, someone said to me, don't feel like when everything's getting on top of you, you're feeling like you're getting buried. Feel like you're getting planted, so you can rise and you can be better. And it was I always just shrugged it off, but I always think now,
Oh no, we lost Matt. Well,
no, Matt, come back to us.
I will fill the space while he's coming in, because I've obviously prepared something which is not really what I do, to be honest.
Matt,
something
can
we were
I
going to
ask a
get to. We're
question?
going
Because
to.
this gives me a wonderful opportunity
Oh,
to
God,
pick your
go.
brains and brilliance. And I mean, Matt is one of the most incredible and inspirational people. And I think, I mean, just listening to his story in the background, an international athlete, captain of the England team, the caps, the goals, the tournament. Matt, tell us about kind of your role within Switch the Play and how that sort of the mentoring works and the work that you would do with Matt to support him on his journey. Because you're wonderful. You're also ridiculously humble. So I'd love to know a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so the program with parafootball, there was conversations rumbling on before I started, and when I then came in to Switch to Play, they were saying that a lot of they give so much and they're not paid. Okay, and I don't mind sharing that. And it's Matt's back on. I'll get back to my amazing answer later.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'll pass you over. Matt, great to have you back with us.
Matt,
I don't know what happened there.
I was gonna ask, mate, like the reframe, like resilience, and positive reframing is something that to some people just seems so far away because it's not easy. And also we need to always be aware of kind of toxic positivity. That setback happens, shock, you're down at the bottom. Is it something that you revisit daily, or is it something that at a certain point in time you went, actually, it's now time to move on? Or do you have to have the self-talk every day?
I think it's a bit. It's probably factored in quite all of them really. Are factored into it because you know obviously I always worry about because my disability is still here. My left side still my speech isn't 100%. My left side's just constant pins and needles, and I sometimes just remind myself where I've got to, and the back of my mind is, could it ever happen again? You know, you can get all the promises from doctors and surgeons in the world, but yeah, it's always in the back of your mind. But you know, you can't just live like that, and I've just got to try and move on from that, and sort of like a reassurance every other day. Maybe I'll think about it. It's always in the back of my mind, but I should try. Obviously, there's more important things that I think about: family life and football. Mask over it really, and it doesn't really affect me as much as it probably could. But yeah, I just choose to not let it bother me, especially my left side. If I'm relaxed, that's when it bothers me the most because I can feel my pins and needles down my left side constantly. But yeah, I don't let it affect me as much as I should really.
Right. And I'm conscious of time, and dare I say, mate, because I've been there myself, you are at the twilight of this amazing career. And that's why we've been introduced, and me and you are getting to know each other. What does the future hold, mate? So when you put those boots back up and you hang them up, what are you looking to do? What does life look like?
Just to speak to businesses, to speak to schools, and just spread the awareness. Obviously, I mean, a stroke can happen to anyone, and I hope it doesn't happen to anyone who I meet or I speak to. But if it does, or any challenges that you have, a death in the family or an illness, a sudden illness that comes along, it's just I'm there to just reassure you that you know you can persevere through everything. Talks and just make sure that you're not going to lose track of what you've got in sight at the end goal, because I didn't all the way through it. So I was in for 6 days and I knew straight away, something came over me, I'll play football again. And I don't know why, I just knew it. And I always set that goal, and there was days where I thought, I'll never play football here. I'm knackered and I've only walked up two steps. And I thought, I can't do it. And I mean, I can spin it around, you know, and have a bit of comedy on it now because of stuff. But, you know, brushing your teeth and it's toothpaste ending up in my eyebrow because my coordination's not there. And yeah, that's it really. I just want to try and spread positivity on bad situations, because I've been through a fair few, whether it's bereavements or it's been issues with work or football or injuries, and it's just about building yourself up from it. And I think I've got a good catalogue of things that have gone wrong for me, but I try and make sure that all the things that go right for me outshine them really.
Mate, thank you. Dave, we've said about there's not going to be a breakout, there's not going to be a time. I'm wondering, because I know Matt's got to jump off in 10 minutes because his life is very busy outside of this. I'm wondering if anyone's got any questions for Matt in the group.
I wouldn't mind asking a question if that's okay.
Sherry Ann, lovely to see you.
Hi, Matt. You all right?
Good.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, guys. Yeah, just how you can support someone who might be going through something similar to yourself and what you went through.
It would just be to sort of speak to them how they're feeling and what their situation is currently. Because if it's something similar to myself regarding my stroke and things like that, obviously, I've just dealt with a young lad not far from here who suffered a stroke, and it was just to go through what you would be expecting, what you'd be expecting feelings wise, how you think that it's not going to affect you or it's going to get worse and stuff. And it's just to try and, if you know someone, it always helps if someone's been there and done it, through something unfortunate like this, to have someone reassuring you and say, look, I went through that, look at me, this is where I am, I can honestly help you, whether it's talks, whether it's to come and help and sit with them and just talk through them and just explain to them that this is it, this is normal, it's happened, don't worry, we can sort it, we can pass through this. It was just nice to do it with a young lad as well, he was a keen footballer, and he obviously wants to get back with it, and it was just nice to sort of just mention when he's having them off days, of just be a shoulder for him to talk to, and here there if he was calling me at any time, or just the odd WhatsApp message saying, how did you feel, like, did you ever get this? And it's just, yeah, of course I did. And then it sort of eased the nerves and the worry and stuff from what's happened, really. And it's just that's the way, that's how I liked it before me. But obviously, when it happened to me, I didn't really have anyone to talk to regarding it, so it was just going off what doctors would say. So now when it's happened, unfortunately, it's happened to some youngsters more frequently now. It's nice to get speaking to them and just let them know that it does get better. I can assure you of that.
I think, Jody, did you want to ask something?
Yeah, no, Matt, I was just going to say, I'm going to guess you might know, or you might have played with Jack Ratter.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So yeah, Jack's a friend of mine, and I used to be one of his coaches actually as well. So I'm aware of some of the amazing stuff that he's going to do, and it sounds like you're on a similar path as well. So, yeah, it's really, I mean, it's amazing to see knowing his journey, what he's been on. It's amazing.
It's good,
yeah, I mean, all the very best to you, I'm going to say, and I hope everything continues. I mean, yeah, if you're linked in with Jack as well, I'm going to say he's a, it's just amazing how he's kind of all the opportunities that have opened up to him.
Yeah, he has. He's put a positive spin on what happened to him as well, and
yeah.
It's just, but you have to now, though. You can't just sort of just stand and let things happen to you now. I think especially with para football and para sport as a whole, with what I've seen, it's gone from sort of being at the wedding but being at the table in the other room, to now being one of the front tables, I would say. And it's great to see para sport, and not just that, it's obviously disabilities and stuff from people who I've spoke to who were hiding his disabilities in the past, which is just shocking to hear. And being ashamed of things, then now are over the moon because the Paralympics is getting centre stage, and obviously CP football, para football, all para sports are getting highlighted now. So it's brilliant, and it's just nice, especially in the past 10 years I've been involved with England. It's it's good. It's all right, yeah.
Good stuff.
Cool. Well, Matt, just quickly, next competition, next game, can people watch you?
Yeah, we've got our World Cup in November, the 6th till the 24th. That's in Salou. We've just got back from Sardinia last year, where we're the first CP team to get to a final. But in true England style, we didn't win it, unfortunately. But hopefully there'll be something next for the World Cup. Yeah, we've got a friendly against Scotland in August, so that'll be good.
No such thing.
But yeah, I know. So yeah, that'll be nice. But I mean, it's all stuff to look forward to, and it'll be my last year as well. So
okay,
I'll be officially retired after. I'll have a nice Christmas without any football for a change.
Very nice, mate. We look, we'll share details. We'll share details with the community. Like if we can access it, TV, YouTube, whatever it is. I think you've probably got some supporters in the room, and I think
I have CPF share a YouTube
okay.
channel, and it's usually on YouTube. The channel always gets shared before the tournament anyway, and it's usually either on a Spanish foreign channel that you can't get over in England, but they usually try and broadcast it on YouTube as well.
I think it's an Includability away day paid for by Dave and the team. I reckon that'd be lovely.
Available.
So look, we were just gonna be one quick exercise that you can do or not do, and connect with Matt. Matt's not huge on social. Matt, you're not on LinkedIn, but you're on other socials.
Yeah, Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Matt90.
So you're elusive, and I don't blame you. So the exercise is going to do is like big journaling activity. So for those people that journal, just a bit of a prompt. So something small, something big, and something tough. Okay, so something small that you're grateful for. Okay, so that for me could be the fact that my daughter scraped her plate off last night for the first time ever, 4.5. She's getting there. Something big, I've just put my wife. Okay, it's simple. Without her, nothing is possible, if I'm being honest. And something tough, and I'm sure we've all got something tough that we've been through. Something that I've been working through and talking through with my therapist over the last few months is my dad leaving when I was little. Okay, but it's something that I've navigated. So it's not one that I need you to share or like you need to email in or anything, but something small, something big, something tough. Hopefully off the back of this call, you can give yourself 3 minutes just to take a deep breath and then do a little bit of journaling. But Matt, I know you've got to jump off. Dave is looking at me saying, Matt, can you hurry up and close it off to other speakers? But Matt Crossan, you're a legend. Thank you ever so much. And thanks to everyone for listening.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Cheers,
Matt,
buddy.
and to you too as well, mate. Honestly, talk about Captain Inspiration, Captain Fantastic. 2 awesome Matts in 1 awesome chat. Chaps, thank you so much.
No bother.
Just incredible and inspirational. Matt, you're extraordinary. Thank you so much for sharing your story so brilliantly. And a huge thank you to our Matt as well for leading the Q&A so beautifully. Just fantastic to be in your company as always, mate. Thank you so much. And staying actually with our Switch to Play Foundation partners, I am delighted to introduce our second guest speaker, the fabulous Claire Heath, Head of Partnerships of Switch to Play. Claire, so great to have you with us, and the virtual floor is yours.
Amazing. Thank you, Dave. And thank you also for allowing me to be a bit of a last minute addition to today's session. Thank you, really appreciate that. So Switch the Play Foundation is really proud to partner with Includability as their sports setting charity partner. So given that today's session is all about sport, I thought it'd be really fitting just to tell you a little bit more about Switch the Play Foundation, what we're all about, what we're doing, and also to share with you an opportunity to get involved in a new Wellbeing challenge that we're launching today in line with World Wellbeing Week. So Switch the Play Foundation is the only charity in the UK which exists to support the wellbeing, education and training of sports people who need help to find new careers and to get life back on track when their sporting career comes to an end. For many sports people, that transition to life beyond sport, a sport that they've dedicated their life to, can be extremely challenging mentally, emotionally, and financially. So we support sports people at all stages of their career to ensure that when that transition period is needed, they are fully prepared. But we also support athletes who may have already retired and later they seek help. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I don't know if this is going to work, but bear with me.
Claire, you're a better person than I am. This is where I attempt to share something and just kick all of these wonderful people off the call. So whatever you
Is it working? Can you see it?
Magic.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, Claire, not yet. No.
Not yet. Okay, sorry guys.
Great,
okay,
great.
Here we go.
Yay,
How about
we've
now?
got you, Claire. Perfect, thank you.
Great. Okay, so I've got a few stats up on the screen. I'm not going to go through them all, but just in summary, we exist because most athletes, despite what many people believe, do not make life-changing sums of money through playing sport. In fact, 90% need to find work after they've retired from sport, and most go into normal jobs. And over half of former sports people report that they have had concerns about their mental health and well-being since retiring from sport. And what we see at Switch the Play Foundation is a lot of athletes report a real loss of identity after they leave sport and really struggle to move on with life. So we offer a range of specialist well-being and transition support services to address those needs. And Matt Locke, who you've just heard from, heads up our athlete services. So I won't go into more detail about the services we offer, but what I do want to talk to you about is our new Wellbeing Challenge. So it can't have escaped your notice that this summer, the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games are taking place in Paris. So we've decided to take this opportunity to, I'm just trying to move my screen on, oh, there we go, to launch an inclusive wellbeing challenge that everyone can get involved in. And that is a virtual London to Paris challenge. So this is a great challenge if you're looking to engage your colleagues across the business and to encourage them to take charge of their own well-being. So what is it? The distance from London to Paris is 425 kilometres. And the challenge is to complete that equivalent distance through any mode of physical activity of your choice. So you can do the whole challenge on your own, the whole 425 kilometres on your own, or you can sign up as a team of 3 and share the love between you. So you can cycle, you can run, you can walk, you can swim, you can row, you can wheelchair, you name it, whatever you choose, as long as you complete the distance. When you do it is also up to you. So it's live now, but you can have until the end of November to complete the challenge. So you can fit it around when it suits you. If you're super competitive, you can race to see how fast you can do it, but you can also take your time, that's fine too. So we've set up an online platform for the challenge, and that is live now for you to register. And there you can set up your profile, you can track your activity, it links to Strava, so it automatically updates. And if you're not a Strava user, that's fine, you can update manually, and you can fundraise from the platform as well. And I'm hoping that Chris is going to share the link to the platform in the chat so that you can have a look and find out more there. It's completely free to register and to participate. All we ask is that everyone aims to raise £150 for Switch the Play Foundation. I know fundraising is challenging, especially in the current climate, but we're definitely here to help you with any tips that you might need on fundraising. So do let us know. And just to finish, why are we doing it? So by getting involved in the virtual London to Paris challenge, you will be helping athletes to get the support they need to successfully transition to life after sport. And for every £150 raised by you and your team, we could help an athlete who is struggling with their mental health to get access to the support they need from a qualified mental health counselling professional. So I'll stop talking now. It's over to you. I'm really excited to see how many of you take up the challenge. If you need any more information, more encouragement, have any more questions about us and the charity, please do ask. I'm more than happy to come and speak to your team about it. But thanks for listening, and good luck.
Blair, thank you so much. Absolutely wonderful. And Switch the Play are an amazing charity that do so much good. What a wonderful challenge to help support the work that they do. And I know that James and Chris and I are delighted that they have joined me as perhaps the 3 most hopeless people to ever take on an endurance event. I saw in the chat feed that James did 3K this morning. James, I love you. You're totally taking the lead on it. Thank goodness for you. But if you feel that you and your teams would like to take part, please do click on the link that Chris has been a star and has just dropped that into the chat feed now. You'll have amazing support and encouragement from Claire and the fantastic Switch the Play team. What a fantastic boost for your well-being too. Claire, you're the best. Thank you so much. And just before I introduce our third guest, we would love you to vote for a charitable project that we can support on your behalf this morning through our partnership with the brilliant B1G1. They're a brilliant B Corp. They support hundreds of charitable projects, both in the UK and internationally, all positively impacting the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So as ever, you're doing an incredible thing for the planet simply by being awesome and hanging out with us this morning. So thank you to you. Chris is going to drop these options into the chat feed for you now. 3 amazing high impact community sports projects to choose from. So simply, please pop the letter of your chosen project into the feed, A, B, or C. Project A is supporting a sports program for marginalized communities in the Philippines. Project B is teaching life skills to young adults in India, all centered around sports and community. And Project C will be providing safe recreational spaces for children within refugee camps in Greece. 3 incredible projects. And if you want to put A, B, or C, we'll do contributions on all of them. It's up to you. So as you cast your votes, I am delighted to introduce our third guest speaker, the amazing Michelle Dorgan, who during her time as head of marketing and communications at Women in Football has created not only extraordinary impact within the football world, but also generated terrific insights into how we can improve workplace culture in sport and beyond. Michelle, it is so lovely to have you with us as always, and the virtual floor is yours.
Thanks, Dave. Hi all, pleasure to be here. Very nice to meet you all virtually. I know I don't have too long because we have the amazing Nicole coming on after me, so I won't hold the floor too much. Just wanted to give a quick intro. I'm going to do some slides as well, hopefully not death by PowerPoint. Let's see if it works. Okay. Can you all see that okay? Perfect. Okay, so quick intro. First of all, who am I? So if anyone does want to connect with me, we'll get my LinkedIn shared in the chat as well. Or Chris may beat me to it. Chris has beat me to it. Thank you, Chris. But again, there's a QR code that you can scan if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. So I am currently head of Marcomms, Marketing and Communications at Women in Football, as Dave said. However, it's actually my last week at WIF. So I finish after 3.5, almost 4 years now, this Friday. And I do have to say a thank you to Nicole. As knows, I actually only got this job because Nicole shared the advert with me. So Nicole and I worked together previously when we do some lecturing. We did some lecturing together down in London. So thank you, Nicole. It's been a fun 3.5, 4 years. So for reference, I am going down the consultancy route and I'm going down training. So I'm a Marcomms consultant. I've done it in the past, but I also love training because I love lecturing, but I hate marking papers. So I'm now going down the training side of things instead. Nicole can sympathize with me. She's marked those same papers. But one of the things I love doing is actually training within the sports world as well. So there's an element of that I'll come on to in a minute. But let's move on to WIF. So in case you haven't heard of us, Women in Football is a not-for-profit. We've been around since 2007. I actually joined in 2008 when I worked at the LMA, League Managers Association. Went to my first event, and it was my first event where it was a football event, and it was just women in the room, which was amazing. Never seen anything like it. I was used to LMA events whereby there were a handful of women and 600 men in the room. There was no queue for the women's toilets, which was a bonus. But yeah, so I went to my first WIF event, loved it. And then, 3.5, 4 years ago, I joined as a team member, as WIF has grown massively since then. We have around 10,000 members now, almost hitting the 10,000 mark. Despite the name, male allies, non-binary allies are very much welcome and appreciated within Women in Football. It's all about anyone who is committed to gender equality in the game. So don't assume that you have to work in football either. If you volunteer in football, I'm guessing there's a few here that probably coach football for your kids, or just because you're a good person. So please do join us and show your support. In terms of what we do, there are 3 core aspects, core objectives for who we are and what we do. First of all, it's about celebrating the achievements of women in football. We know that everyone thinks, most people, things did change when our Lionesses won the Euros, thankfully. But a lot of people think football, they think men. And actually, the men's and the women's game wouldn't exist without women. And a lot of people don't realise that. So our job is to actually celebrate those achievements and make people realise that women are integral to the game. It's also about challenging discrimination. Sadly, that's quite a big part of what we do, which is what I'll come on to in a moment. We have this year completed our 3rd survey, 4th, with our members and wider community. And some of the stats that have come out of it are a little bit worrying, a bit scary, but yeah, we'll come on to those in a moment. And the 3rd one is about sharing expertise and knowledge. Just as Matt said with Switch to Play, what we're about is actually trying to make sure that those who are playing in the game as well, especially specifically those women playing the game, they are thinking about their future career. Because as Matt said, it doesn't happen when you're playing, it just doesn't happen. I actually, as a side story, yesterday, even though it's my last week, I had a last minute request to go and present personal branding session to the Premier League Futures programme with some academy athletes, some academy players. Most of them have been dropped. They haven't made it through. So they're now having to think what next, because they always hoped and focused on the idea that football was their game and that was what they were going to do for a job. A couple of them on the programme are actually still playing. And it was interesting because part of the personal branding pitch, I asked them, do they have LinkedIn? Do they use LinkedIn? And only 3 of them had LinkedIn. One of the ones that doesn't is a current goalkeeper. And they said, well, I don't really need it at the moment. So I haven't really needed it. I went, yeah, but when are you going to need it? Because by then it's too late. Unfortunately, within sport, your career can end at any point. It's not like other jobs. So you have to be prepared. So the sharing expertise and knowledge is key for what we do. Anyway, moving on to the lovely results of our survey, coming back to the discrimination side of things. Just wanted to share a few stats from a workplace culture perspective, just to kind of make it a little bit clearer what does go on within the football industry. Now, in terms of who completed it, we've had our largest response ever, which has been over 1,000 respondents, which is fantastic. You can see there people from across the world, all different jobs, all different lengths, durations in terms of careers in football, which is brilliant. First point that came out is discrimination. And within this group, obviously, you're all about supporting and being inclusive within the workplace, which is amazing. But I'm sure you will also know everyone has that outlook. And a lot of people think they have that outlook, even though they don't necessarily have that approach. So with our survey, there's been a few stats that have come out that I wanted to share with you. So the first one is, scarily, 89% of women who have completed our programme have experienced discrimination in the workplace. Now, that isn't just gender discrimination, it's a whole host of discrimination. But unfortunately, we thought last year's figure was high at 82%. We thought our 2020 figure was high at 66%. It's going up and up. And that's scary because by rights, we were hoping by now it would be going down. Sexism, we talk about it a lot. People talk about it a lot more now. Again, when I joined the LMA back in 2008, there were conversations I had with managers who now wouldn't be able to have those conversations. Things have moved on, which is good. That's a positive. But we still get sexism in the workplace. And again, over half of the women working in football who completed this survey have experienced it. So what we want to do is raise awareness of that, hopefully change that. One of the scariest figures is that 19% of women working in football have experienced sexual discrimination within the industry. And again, in this day and age, how does that happen? We're there to support them, which is one of the roles of women in football as well. We have a great partnership with Mishcon lawyers who provide free pro bono advice for those who do experience it, which is great, because a lot of women, they're not part of a union, they don't know where to go. So actually having someone to talk to is brilliant. One of the challenges is most won't report it. So we did actually go through this with the survey as well and ask, what percentage have experienced it? What percentage have reported it? And the difference is huge. And that brings us on to this slide. Of that small minority who report the discrimination they experience in the workplace, over 60% of them, for over 60% of those who reported it, no action was taken. The other scary stat is that that figure actually increases to 80% for women from an underrepresented ethnic background. We don't know why that is. It's something we need to do more research into. We did have a much smaller demographic, a much smaller base of who actually completed it, who told us their ethnicity, but still, that's a high percentage. And again, for all of you on this call, something hopefully to be aware of. And if there's anything you can do within your organisations to make it more accepted and more the norm, to report it. So if you do experience discrimination, try and promote the fact that you want it to be reported, because a lot of people just think there's no point, nothing's going to happen. So again, act on it. And the graph you can see on there, hopefully it's not too small and you can see it. There are differences in terms of some were listened to and no action was taken. Some weren't even listened to, let alone have action taken. But the percentage whereby they were listened to and action was taken, it's tiny, 27% versus 13% for women from underrepresented ethnic backgrounds. And again, that needs to change. So then, what's it like being a woman in football? Almost 90% of women feel they have to work harder than men to achieve the same recognition and benefits. Interestingly, 74% of men agree. So we all know football industry is a challenging one. And it's not the only industry that's male dominated. And it doesn't mean that just because there's more men and it's harder and we feel it's harder, it doesn't mean that that stops us. That's why we exist at Women in Football. The more women who keep working in football and keep pushing, keep persevering, and the more male and non-binary allies who come on board to support these women, those stats will hopefully change and come down. 71% of respondents believe male dominance is the biggest challenge facing women in the football industry today, while 66% believe it's unconscious bias. I find that the changes from last year to this year, I find really interesting, because last year, the top of that table, as it were, conscious bias and unconscious bias, over 75% of respondents said they were the biggest challenges last year. This year, conscious bias has dropped to just 37%. Interesting to just think what that means. For me, it's actually a positive that you think, well, okay, people are not overtly, they're not purposely being biased within the workplace towards women, whereas in the past, they probably were. And they'd make it more open and they'd just be biased and that would be it. Now people are kind of coming along and realising it's not right. There's no reason to be biased against women. Like, we're all just people doing our job. But the fact that it's dropped is interesting. But the fact that unconscious bias is still the second biggest challenge shows that while people think outwardly they're being better and that they're not being biased, and we get it now, unconsciously that bias still exists. And then this one, only 20% of women say they're encouraged to forge pathways to the highest position in the game. Again, we want that to be more. We want women to really feel whatever job they want, they can work hard and get to it. Again, this is actually disappointingly lower than it was last year. So it's actually dropped, which is another concern. We have a few concerns with these results. However, it's not all bad news. So we do have over 85% of female respondents said they're optimistic that opportunities for women in the football industry will get better. And there are other positives as well, but I wanted to end on this one because I think we all know that football's an amazing industry. It's an amazing game. We're all passionate about it. We all want to work in it because we love it. We know that things are improving. They have to improve. There's no other option. And again, our lionesses are helping bring awareness to the importance and the role that women can play in the game. But actually at Women in Football, our members, the vast majority work in the men's game and they're off pitch. So what we want to do is support them to help drive real change. So our nice little slide there, we have a campaign called Get On Side. If you are involved in football, please check our website out. have a look at that. You can make a pledge to say what you'd like to do to help drive real positive change for women and girls in football. And if you would like to find out more about WIF, or if you have not yet joined, I will share these slides with Dave, who I'm sure will be able to share them with all of you afterwards as well. So you can click on those QR codes and find out more about WIF. And I know Chris has been very good and will likely share some links as well. And that is it. That I just have to share that image. When I joined WIF almost 4 years ago now, when I got there, I was given our new brand, and I was told, right, here's your new brand. We're launching it next month. Can you create a launch campaign? And we had survey results as well. So it was what you'd call a baptism of fire. And then I had one of our board members say, have we got a hero image for this campaign? And I'm like, no, our image library is shockingly bad. I've gone through everything. And this was in my first week, and I've been scouring everything. So at the end of that week, I was on this board meeting, and he went, wouldn't it be good if we could get WIF on Wembley screens? And you saw the opening slide that had WIF on Wembley screen. That was literally less than a week into my new job at WIF. And it shows me that it's who you know, not what you know. I didn't know that Kelly Simmons, who was then heading up the women's game at the FA, was about to join us as a board member, and was very lucky. And I wanted, when we did the photo shoot, I got a few of our members and one of our board members, Joe, and I said to our photographer, Lynn Cameron, who's really annoyingly moved to New Zealand. She was the Lionesses' official photographer. And I said, I want a Reservoir Dogs image. So if any of you are old enough to know Reservoir Dogs, that's our WIF Reservoir Dogs image. Anyway, that's me done. I will stop sharing.
Michelle, you are absolutely incredible. Reservoir Dogs eat your heart out. Thank you so much. Just massively appreciate you and all of your time with us this morning. The statistics, the feedback from that extraordinary report, some heart-wrenching facts in there, but it sounds like there is a positive option for real impact and change, which is wonderful and extraordinary. And as hard as it is to lose you from WIF, I've no doubt that next exciting move and all the consultancy will still allow you to do the incredible, extraordinary work that you do around the women in football community. Michelle, thank you. You're amazing.
Thanks, Dave.
It's so lovely because Michelle actually wrote a brilliant post on LinkedIn this week about the ESG, saying how exciting it was to be joining a panel event with her good friend. I thought Michelle was talking about me, but she was actually talking about our final guest speaker, the amazing, trailblazing Nicole Allison. Nicole and Michelle actually, obviously, as Michelle said, used to lecture together. Being on a call with them is the most inspirational thing. I feel like an absolute gooseberry. And Nicole is also the owner of Worcester City Women Football Club, who have just secured promotion to the FA Women's National League, having become West Mid's Regional League champions this season. We've got the wonderful Sarah Matthews from the Worcester City Women's Football Club team as well. Sarah, love you. So wonderful to see you. And Nicole, it's incredible to have you with us. The virtual floor is yours when you're ready.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dave. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you all. And yeah, I think also important to mention that I'm a big part of the Switch the Play family as of a few months ago as well, thanks to Matt and Claire. So it's been brilliant to work with those guys as well. So yeah, very much connected within the Includability family, which is brilliant. I think perfect to kind of follow on actually from Michelle's slides and stats that she showed, because being a woman that's worked in football now for 12, 13 years, all of those responses really resonate with me. And actually, you know, just reading them and listening to them is actually a big reason as to why I was motivated to start my own football club and take over my own football club, because I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to be better. And I'd kind of got to a point in my career in the football industry, working in both men's and women's football, where I didn't actually know where to turn. And so I decided to start it myself, and so that I can actually do this better and we can create a better environment. So that's what Worcester City Women is there for. I'm going to share a few slides with you today. Really, the kind of point is just to tell our story, and hopefully you'll be inspired as to what we've kind of done and why we're quite unique in this situation and in this environment. So just bear with me. Hopefully you can all see this. Give me the thumbs up, Dave. Yeah, great. So just a little bit, really, just to kind of briefly set out who we are. Quite simply, we're an independent female-owned women's football club, and that means that we are designed to purely solely focus on women and girls football development. So that means that we don't have to think about anything else other than what is the right decision for women and girls. And that's quite unique, particularly across Europe, because most women's football clubs are attached to or affiliated to a men's team that's been around for most likely hundreds of years, and quite often is also set up so that decisions are made for the benefit of the men's game. In America, in the top tier in America in the NWSL, there's about a 50-50 split of teams that are completely independent, but also those that are affiliated with MLS men's teams. We've gone for that model where we are completely independent and can make our own decisions based on what is best for women and girls football. And I think seeing the results that Michelle showed us, you can see why that's a huge benefit. And it's actually why we've had such growth over the last 3 years as well. So we've got a really clear vision, and that's to be one of the UK's leading women's football clubs. We're very focused around our community. We're focused around sustainability and inclusion and developing our young talent. And our purpose is about using football as a force for social good. We are committed to that planet, purpose, and people. And our values actually really represent that as well. We did a piece of work with our players a couple of years ago, actually, when Matt was our manager. Matt Lott was our manager, where we got our players to actually talk about what does playing for Worcester City women mean to you, what motivates you to play football. Remember, these players are all volunteers, they're not professional players. And some of the responses that they gave us were really quite telling. And one particularly came out that sort of said, we feel like we are baking bread. We've got all the right ingredients. We've just preheated the oven and we're just ready to go in and rise. And through the brilliant work with Sarah Matthews, we came out with the word rise, which then represents our values. And of course, rise is what we are trying to do. And I loved the comment, and I have to say, wrote it down from Matt Crossan earlier about when it feels like you're buried, actually reimagine that as being replanted so that you're ready to rise. So I might well have to steal that one for a new marketing slogan for us. But rise spells out our values: respect, inspiring, successful, and exceptional. So just a little bit about the last 3 years. So I took over the club in 2021, and this last particular year has been full of success in terms of winning teams on the pitch, but we wouldn't have got there if we hadn't have gone through everything we went through for those first 2 seasons. 3 years ago, I set out quite a clear strategy based around 4 what I would call kind of operating pillars. As you can see here, I won't go through all of them just because of obviously time, but you can see the kind of 4 key areas that we were trying to focus on and build those foundations around. Governance and leadership, the most important one being that we're independently owned and we're championing female empowerment. We also have that duty to grow the game, grow participation, grow attendance, fan growth, and we've done incredibly well on that. And also making sure that we are financially sustainable, because we cannot just rely on 1 or 2 people putting money into the football club, because at what point do they then actually decide that they want to leave or it's not for them anymore? What then happens to the club? And we have seen endless examples of women's football teams being folded or just completely dropped out of the equation because the men's team can no longer afford them and they see them as a cost as opposed to an actual investment. Of course, you can't do that without successful teams on the pitch and a good product and an entertaining football to watch on a Sunday. So another key focus was creating winning teams and a pathway to ensure that we maintain that. There have been tons of curveballs on the way, and it has not been a linear line, I can assure you. Tons and tons of curveballs, which a lot of people, Michelle, Matt, will know about. Sarah certainly knows about and has experienced a lot of them alongside with me. But what's been really important is that we've had a very clear vision and objectives, and we've always known where we want to be at that 2024 point. So no matter how many curveballs we have or how windy the road might have been, we've always been clear on where we need to get to, and we pulled together and we have got there. So our achievements have been incredible over the last 3 years. And I mean, first of all, I could not do it without the support of amazing people such as Sarah, such as Matt, that have supported and been such a big part of this football club over the last 3 years. A board of directors with a 50-50 gender split on our coaching team, which is extremely important to me. We've increased our attendance quite dramatically now, playing at 6 ways, averaging over 250 people coming and watching us week in, week out, which for a tier 5 women's football team is significant and is actually higher than a lot of tier 3 teams. Financially sustainable, we've grown our partnerships completely from scratch to having over 400% increase in our partnerships now as well, which is fantastic. And on the pitch, we won the double last season, most critically winning that promotion into tier 4, which is now a national league. And whilst I'm sweating slightly of the cost of going into a national league, I'm also incredibly excited about what that can bring to the club, but more so to the city, because I can see the excitement in our fan base and the young girls that are actually been following us over the last 3 years. So what does that actually mean in real terms? So in women's football, there are 7 tiers. We had our first team in tier 5. We've now just got promoted to tier 4. So we'll be playing in the FA Women's National League Division 1 Midlands. You can see there on the right-hand side the types of teams that we'll be mixing with. I think it's quite impressive to think of a Worcester City that are going to be challenging with some of those teams that we well know of. Our reserve team plays in tier 6, so we actually have 3 teams within our organisation, a reserve team and also an under-18 team, which has just finished its first season as well. So we're building that pathway so that we can ensure our growth and development on the pitch continues. So I said to everybody at the club at the end of season awards at the end of May that basically phase 1 has now closed. We have now finished phase 1 of our plan, of our strategy, which was for 3 years. We've completed it. But I then also spoke about what does phase 2 look like. And the best way that I can describe it is that I feel like I'm in some sort of game, and Sonic was always my favorite when I was younger, where I feel like I've completed level 1 and I'm now moving to level 2. There's a lot of unknowns. And I'm kind of waiting to get to that big boss at the end and trying to navigate what do I actually really need to collect along the way, and more importantly, who do I need to collect on the way to help me to get there. So phase 2 for the next 3 years is very much loading. Officially, the season starts on the 1st of July. And what I mean by that is we don't kick a ball on the 1st of July, but officially the seasons change over and all eyes and focus are then on 24-25. We'll be making a huge announcement on the 1st of July around a rebrand. We are having a new logo, a new brand design, everything that comes with it to really represent our independent female owned business, which we're really excited about. And our strategy really is still around those 4 pillars, but adding a little bit more meat to the bones around those 8 kind of areas. So as a board, we talk all the time about these kind of 8 key areas. Vision and values very much stay the same, but developing that vision specifically for the next 3 years. People, of course, are absolutely crucial in everything that we do. We've just announced a new first team head coach, who is an A licensed coach and a phenomenal person with a huge amount of experience to take us to that next level. So it's a good example of, actually, we've had huge success this season. A lot of people might have been looking at me thinking, well, I'm not going to fix anything. Why fix something when it's not broke? For me, actually, you don't want to just sit still. We want to continue to rise. We need to make sure that we are equipped for that. So bringing in another Matt, so that's 3 Matts in a row that we've had, and that isn't part of the criteria to be the head coach of Worcester City Women, but it just so happens that it is. He's in a great position to take us forward. So across all these areas, we're really developing our processes, our policies, and ensuring that we're in the best possible place to ensure that we're sustainable and we can keep continuing going into the next few leagues. I mentioned earlier about, developing a board of directors over the last 12 months, which has been hugely helpful for us, because what I've tried to do is surround myself with people that are better than me, that have more knowledge than me in various different areas. And we've come together with this great group of people, some of whom have actually worked in football before, such as Sarah, of course, others that haven't touched football or don't even really follow football. And actually, that's provided us with a very, very sound group of people that can advise myself and others within the club as to how we move this forward in the best possible way. So you can see again the importance of transparency, but also of our makeup of the board in terms of our gender balance. Curveballs are coming. I'm ready. Sarah's ready. We're all ready. We know that's going to be the case. But again, as we've got through the last 3 years, ensuring that we have a clear vision, we have our goals set out really, really clearly. We know that we will get there, and we will be able to stand resilient and stand tall to all of those different curveballs that come our way. And hopefully we'll get a lot more of this, which is plenty of smiles. I love this photo because it was taken on our Friday evening game under the lights at Sixways that we had over 500 people attend. We did this for International Women's Day, which really was shining a light on women's football, women, gender equality, and what we were doing for the city and the area using football to drive that change. The players walked out with their inspirational woman in their life. As you can see here, a lot of them chose their mums, but not all of them. And actually, it was such a great way of telling stories and telling those narratives as to what was really, truly important and what does women's football bring. And I'm hoping that I might be able to show a video. If I stop sharing my slides and share it again to allow video sharing, then I'll show you a quick video, which hopefully just summarises our season, but also who we really are as a club. But important, I think, to mention our partners and thank you, to Includability as well, because I've been able to meet great people through Includability. But we could not do any of what I've just explained quickly in the last 10 minutes or so without these partners who are sponsors, but also provide us with a huge amount of support outside of just providing us with financial transactions. These organizations help us to tell our story and help us to be unique in the ways that I've explained. So let me just see if I can reshare so that we can watch the next video. Am I able to do that, Dave? Do you know?
Nicole, you should be able to. Again, I've had to play with some buttons, so I'm hoping if you hit play, it should load up. If not, James is going to be livid with me. I've got everything crossed.
Right, let's see if this works.
This season, it couldn't have been better. The results, what Nicole's done with the club, what Jess is doing with the girls, just fantastic. The girls on and off the pitch are a perfect example of the way a football team should run.
We got involved through engagement with the community and Elodie going to some of the coaching sessions. It's a great place to come on a Sunday afternoon, very welcoming, good level of football, everyone's very friendly, it's just a nice place to be.
What they're doing now is incredible. From them coaching me on Saturdays and Matt Talley coaching me on a Wednesday, it's really amazing to see them play.
Sixway is just fantastic. This has got to be the future in women's football. This shows that women's football is moving forward in the right direction. This club can only get better. Playing in a fantastic stadium like this where we don't have to worry about, is the ground big enough if we go up? Just we're capable of going on a lot further, bring it on.
Just delighted for them. They worked really hard. I think they've just reward for the quality of football they played throughout the season, and yeah, just fantastic for them.
Well done for this season. Just look forward to the next season with higher levels of football. I reckon they can do it.
So that's us.
Oh my word, Nicole. Wow. Thank you so much. And I say this not only as a Tottenham soulmate to share the lows and the pain, but as someone who is creating the most brilliant and lasting positive legacy for women's football. Surely there's got to be a Netflix series and at least an OBE by the end of the year. You are literally phenomenal. It's been amazing listening to you as always, Nicole. Thank you as ever. Honestly, you and Sarah, what an incredible team you are together as well. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very
And
much.
wonderful to catch up as always. You're brilliant. And finally, of course, a hot date for your diaries is our next employee support group. And that will be happening on Wednesday, the 31st of July, where we'll be hosting 5 fantastic guest speakers. Hannah Beecham, MBE, founder of Red January, Emma Palmer, head of D&I at Innovate, Dipti Shah. Dips is on the call with us today, founder of Conscious Rebel Leadership. Dips is incredible. That's going to be amazing. The wonderful Sarah Anderson Smith of Includability Committed Employee WGC, and Mira Somji, co-founder of Inclusivity. That will be our last ESG before a short break and a return in September. So please do join us. We'd love to see you there. And that registration link will be dropping in the chat feed for you shortly. Chris, thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of our ESG this morning. It's my word. Like, I always feel that everyone is my favorite, but there's been something unbelievably special about today. A huge thank you to our brilliant guest speakers, to Michelle, to Nicole, Claire, and both our Matts. What unbelievable legends you all are. Thank you for all of your insight, sharing your wisdom. And of course, from James, Chris, Danny, and myself, and the whole team at Includability and Disrupt Agency, a huge thank you to every single one of you for giving up your time and for joining us this morning. And again, please do join us for our Links and Drinks event. That's going to be happening on the 25th of July at X and Y 5 Fields. It'll be great to see you, hopefully getting a hug as well. And in the meantime, let's keep working in partnership to develop that mentally healthy, that inclusive workplace culture. Can't wait to see you all again next month. Love to you all and have an incredible rest of your week. Take good care, everyone.